Hello, my name is Obese Loser, and I do not exist. No, I'm not Brandon Bud Light, number 13 quarterback at West Humberton High, slow motion diving across the three-point line, football in hand, previous memories of sexual conquest in the brain, inherently large social circle, as well as temporary significant other watching in pure amazement and admiration as I perfectly score the winning touchdown. No, I'm not Timothy Burlap, chess club administrator, advanced placement, musically gifted, and socially appreciated scholar. And no, I'm not Erwin Dinkert, diagnosed Asperger's, anime t-shirt wearing, theater class background character, quirky, delight to be around. I am Obese Loser, and I do not exist. At this point, I'm sure outside of all the mental barbastitudes you have conjured up against me as a person, just from that short intro, the main anger-fueled question you've got for me is, well, Obese Loser, what is so different about you that you have the self-righteousness to claim that you are so separate from these very real individuals you just listed off? Well, no matter how abrasively awesome Brandon may be, or how interestingly intelligent Timothy is, or how enigmatically autistic Erwin comes across as, they each attract the company of others by using their strongest assets of their personality in some unique way. I'm kind of realizing this schizophrenic point of view might need a point of comparison that is widely understood to get the point across easier. So I'm going to use a niche mechanic from a video game that has recently become socially acceptable to properly explain it. In World of Warcraft, there is a mechanic called threat. If you can somehow manage to decipher this retarded man-child overstimulation jet fighter cockpit cartoon episode and focus your vision on this little section here, you will find the threat meter. Basically, when a group of players damages a big scary monster, the monster will decide who to target first based on who has the highest amount of threat. And this threat is generated by who is currently having the highest level of effect on the fight by fulfilling their role the best. Whether it's Brandon Bud Light in the front lines maximizing his DPS along with his undying charisma, Timothy Burlap casting utility spells and charms of humble hyper-intelligence, and who could forget Edwin, supporting the both of them with healing spells and oddly endearing standoffishness, all of them building this threat meter in their own unique way, specific to their own archetype of personality. But the similarity is there. Each one of these people, from completely different walks of life and social standings, are using their given tools to exist in some capacity. People have this notion with the term loser, where they may automatically picture some off-putting, slightly autistic, anime-watching, soft-spoken dweebling, the type of person you would imagine spends their Friday nights just playing video games and going to anime conventions. But coming from someone who has ironically gone to one of these anime conventions as a funny meme, I can tell you that 95% of the people there are attending it with either a large group of close friends or their significant other. I remember in my freshman year of community college before I dropped out after 3 weeks, I had a class with a guy who always wore the exact same Game Grumps merch hoodie while spouting out wacky internet-relevant meme quips every single day. He had that very apparent outgoing autism mixed with the raised by the internet upbringing. To say I had a very existential drive home after seeing his girlfriend run across the parking lot and leap into his open arms, it's an understatement. I mean, that goofy Game Grumps duder had to have raised that threat meter at some point to be that outwardly autistic but still have the self-confidence and worth as a human to attract a loving partner. I think to truly be a loser, your existence must have absolutely zero effect on the threat meter that is life. You must embrace nothing. Like, I could actually explain the events of the last month of my life in one sentence. I went to work, I jerked off, I played video games. Even on the most negative end on most people's scale of identifying a loser, say the person who wasted their life on hard drugs, partying their early life away, getting hooked on some substance they would do socially, all leading up to their inevitable overdose in a dark alleyway. Now, I don't want to sound too much like a cynical cell, but I'm sure that person wasn't doing all those substances by themselves. And they sure as hell were interacting with a bunch of different people on a daily basis to procure every needed chemical. And all of those social interactions is certainly going to raise the threat meter. If you truly want to not exist, you need to have every interaction you are forced to have be as surface level as possible and as least impact to anyone else as you can. I'd say a solid 90% of my human interaction intake comes from the individual on the other side of the big walkie-talkie box at the fast food drive-thru. And recently, I've discovered most of my favorite places to eat have a feature where you can just order your food on a phone application and have zero human interaction whatsoever. To truly experience nothing, to truly have absolutely zero effect on the ever-present threat meter, one must have absolutely nothing to offer in any regard. No skill set, no empathy, no innate attractiveness, not unattractive enough to be pitied, not intelligent enough to be gifted, not stupid enough to be beloved, not neurotypical enough to be social, not autistic enough to be endearing. A state of true worthlessness that cannot even be defined by its own lack of worth, as a lack of something still constitutes as something.